My main experience so far with Starfish has been with a group of students in a composition, an advanced composition course. We were looking at different aspects of the academic master planning process from the point of view of students. What were their perceptions? What were their needs?
I encountered Starfish on the Blackboard website. I thought, well, it looks kind of interesting because I have a class with 46 students in it, and I needed to make appointments for practical exam, and I had to meet individually with pairs of students.
Starfish, predominantly in my world, is for advising purposes. So I set a schedule, and people respond accordingly depending on what the hours are that I set up.
And one particular team of students began to focus on the issue of communication more generally at first, and then increasingly, as they've got more information about it, on Starfish as a tool.
So I put my schedule up and I matched it with what I knew were their free times, and just told them it was there. Didn't have to give them any instruction, and
it was one of those where we spent most of our time putting out a potential schedule, putting it on the door, because the way the offices are set up here in McMicken is that there's a main door and then the office door. So there's this catch area. Most people have to knock loudly to get in, and so, you know.
And they got quite interested in the potential that Starfish offered for students, the ways in which it would allow students greater flexibility in scheduling, but mainly just a bit more access to the faculty resources that they would need. So they investigated Starfish a bit, were frustrated that it's not being used more widely, but were also, I think, mainly enthused about the potential that it has.
Unlike putting everybody in my PDA, which I've done in the past, within a couple of days I had almost everybody scheduled. So I thought it worked very well for me.
I had a lot of drop-ins without Starfish. I still do have some drop-ins for advising, but Starfish has helped kind of give me a better chance to kind of, well, it really helps me to organize the office hours that I do have. But it is a culture change. And culture change can be good. I mean, there are good things about it. I would say probably on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably a 6 in terms of my embracing technology. Now it's more organized because people email me saying, I had a meeting with you at 1 o'clock. I already know that they're going to be there. There's a note, comment, or something. It usually helps me to say, okay, well, they're coming in to do advising for pre-registration. They're coming in to talk about graduation. I can always look up their numbers and, you know, or their names, and start proactive, you know, getting their audit ready, which is nice. It's efficient.
From the standpoint of the instructors, I think it's also clearly a beneficial tool. It's going to save me time as an instructor, not having to go back and forth with an email exchange to set up an appointment, not having to worry about weeks and weeks of office hours when nobody's showing up, and then all of a sudden in the last week of classes there's a big line out the door. And so Starfish, I think, gives us an important way of moving through that barrier, getting students more involved in, I think, ways that would make a lot of sense to them. If students themselves could set up their own appointments with instructors, that would be sending a pretty powerful message to them. One of the things that we want for our students to do more and more in our classes is to take more responsibility for their learning, to take charge of more of the learning process. And that's the way in which learning will occur at a deeper, more profound, more enduring level. I think really the main advantage that I see from the standpoint of the classroom instructor is the way in which it involves the students, the way in which it invites students to take charge of one more important aspect of their learning, gives them a tool that they can use to make that connection, and facilitates the learning in, I think, ways that will expand our sense of the classroom, ways that will allow for connections outside of that strict classroom environment.